I will always remember the day I married Amanda. Her smile as we exchanged vows, the way her eyes sparkled when we danced. After 2 years together, I finally had everything I ever wanted. She was beautiful, smart, and kind. I thought our love was unbreakable. I had built my future around our promises to each other. I could not have imagined that just 14 days later, my entire world would shatter into pieces. Now, a year later, I stare at her text message, asking to meet. Before I share the biggest shock of my life with you, let me know where you are watching this from in the comments and hit that subscribe button to follow more real-life stories. I was 32 when I met Amanda at a house party, hosted by our mutual friend Jessica. I had been focusing on my career as a software engineer at a tech company in Boston, not actively looking for a relationship. But there was something about Amanda that caught my attention immediately. She was 29, worked as a kindergarten teacher, and had recently ended a 5-year relationship. Her laugh was contagious, her intelligence evident in every conversation, and I found myself drawn to her naturally warm personality. Our first date was at a small Italian restaurant downtown. We talked for hours, discovering our shared love for hiking, classic movies, and Italian food. Our connection felt natural and effortless. As weeks passed, our relationship blossomed. We spent weekends exploring Boston Common, visiting museums, and enjoying quiet evenings cooking together at my apartment. 6 months into our relationship, we started meeting each other's families. My parents adored Amanda from the start. My mother especially took to her, often inviting her over for Sunday dinners, even when I was caught up with work. Her parents were more reserved initially, but warmed up over time. Her father, a retired high school principal, appreciated my stable career and plans for the future. Our first vacation together was a week in Florida. We spent lazy days on the beach, went snorkeling, and enjoyed romantic dinners watching the sunset. It was during this trip that Amanda first mentioned James, her ex-boyfriend. She was reminiscing about a previous beach vacation and let slip James and I used to collect seashells every morning. There was a nostalgic tone in her voice that made me slightly uncomfortable, but I brushed it off. Everyone has a past, I told myself. What mattered was our present and future together. After a year and a half of dating, I decided to propose. I chose the same Italian restaurant where we had our first date. The owner helped me arrange everything perfectly, hiding the ring in a tiramisu dessert. When Amanda found it, her eyes welled with tears, and she said yes, immediately. The entire restaurant applauded as I slipped the ring on her finger. That night, wrapped in each other's arms, we talked about our future home, potential baby names, and growing old together. The wedding planning began, and with it came our first real challenges as a couple. Amanda wanted a large, elaborate ceremony with over 200 guests. My vision was more modest, partly because I wanted to save for our first home. Her parents offered to contribute significantly to the wedding fund, which eased some of the financial tension, but created new pressures about having the perfect event. During the planning process, I noticed Amanda would occasionally become distant and thoughtful. Once, while reviewing potential venues, she went quiet for nearly an hour. When I asked what was wrong, she simply said she was feeling overwhelmed. Another time she disappeared during a cake tasting, and I found her outside on her phone. She quickly ended the call when she saw me. These moments gave me pause, but I attributed them to wedding stress. Our wedding day arrived on a perfect June afternoon at a resort just outside Boston. The ceremony was beautiful, with 150 guests, witnessing our vows under an arch of white roses and green ivy. Amanda looked stunning in her white gown, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. Our families beamed with pride, and the reception was filled with laughter, dancing, and heartfelt toasts. Toward the end of the evening, I noticed Amanda in deep conversation with a man I did not recognize. When I approached, she introduced him as David, her cousin Jennifer friend. They had apparently been catching up about mutual acquaintances. I thought nothing of it at the time, focused on enjoying what I considered the happiest day of my life. Our honeymoon in Hawaii started perfectly. The first 3 days were everything we had dreamed of. White sand beaches, crystal clear waters, and romantic dinners under the stars. We snorkeled with sea turtles, hiked to a waterfall, and spent long mornings in our private bungalow overlooking the ocean. I remember thinking this was the beginning of our perfect life together. But on the fourth day, I noticed a change in Amanda. She began checking her phone constantly, stepping away to take calls, and seemed distracted during our activities. When I asked if everything was okay, she assured me it was just her mother checking in. That night, she was restless, tossing and turning until morning. On the 5th day of our planned 10-day honeymoon, Amanda received a call during breakfast. Her expression changed instantly. "We need to go home," she announced. "My mom has had a fall. Nothing serious, but I need to be there." Concerned and supportive, I immediately agreed to cut our trip short. We packed our things and caught the next available flight back to Boston. When we arrived home, Amanda called her mother from the airport. From her side of the conversation, everything seemed normal. When I questioned this, Amanda explained that her mother was already feeling better, but still needed help around the house. I offered to visit her parents with her, but Amanda insisted on going alone. Over the next week, Amanda was rarely home. She would leave early, claiming to be helping her mother or meeting friends, and return late, often after I was asleep. When she was home, she was emotionally distant, barely engaging in conversation. If I tried to initiate intimacy, she would claim exhaustion or a headache. 2 weeks after our wedding, I decided to leave work early to surprise Amanda with takeout from her favorite restaurant. When I arrived at our apartment, I found her packing a suitcase. Clothes were strewn across our bed, and her jewelry box was emptied. "What is going on?" I asked the takeout bags, dropping from my hands. Amanda froze clearly, not expecting me. After a long pause, she sighed and sat on the edge of the bed. "I cannot do this anymore, Colin," she said quietly. "I have made a mistake." My world stopped. "What mistake? What are you talking about?" "Our marriage," she whispered, unable to look me in the eye. I thought I was ready, but I am not. I still have feelings for someone else. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. "Someone else? Who?" "James," she admitted. "My ex." We reconnected at the wedding. The pieces suddenly clicked together. David was not her cousin friend. He was James, the ex-boyfriend she had dated for 5 years before me. He was at our wedding. How? Why? I stammered. Amanda explained that James had come as Jennifer cousin plus one. They had not planned it, but seeing each other had rekindled feelings she thought were long gone. James had reached out to her after the wedding, expressing regret about their breakup and confessing he still loved her. "So while we were on our honeymoon, you were texting him?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Those phone calls were from him." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I am so sorry, Colin. I never meant to hurt you. But James and I have history. We grew up together. He understands me in ways no one else does." "And what about me? What about our vows? Our future?" I pleaded, desperation rising in my voice. "I thought I was over him," she said. "I really did love you, Colin. But when I saw James again, I realized what we had was never really gone." I learned that Amanda had been meeting James almost daily since we returned from Hawaii. They had spent hours talking, reconnecting, and ultimately decided they wanted to be together. "I have to follow my heart," she said, resuming her packing. "James is waiting for me. We are going to his cabin in Vermont to figure things out." I begged her to reconsider, to at least try counseling. I reminded her of all we had built together, all we had planned. But her mind was made up. Within an hour, she had packed her essential belongings and walked out of our apartment, leaving her wedding ring on the nightstand. After she left, I collapsed onto the floor, unable to process what had happened. I called my friend Tyler, who came over immediately. He found me still sitting in the same spot, surrounded by the spilled contents of the takeout bags. In the days that followed, the full extent of Amanda's betrayal became clear. Through mutual friends and some of her belongings she had left behind, I discovered that Amanda and James had been in contact for weeks before the wedding. There were messages on her old laptop dating back to our engagement, though they had become more frequent during wedding planning. Jessica reluctantly admitted that she had seen Amanda and James talking intimately at our engagement party. "I thought it was just closure," she explained apologetically. "I never imagined she would actually leave you for him." The humiliation of having to explain the situation to our families was almost as painful as the betrayal itself. My mother was furious. My father stunned into silence. Amanda's parents were equally shocked. Her father called me personally to apologize, saying he had no idea his daughter would do something like this. "She has always been impulsive," he said, "but this crosses a line I never thought she would cross." Our wedding gifts had to be returned. Thank you notes already sent had to be followed by awkward explanations, and our apartment, once filled with dreams of our future, became a shrine to my failure. The weeks following Amanda's departure were the darkest of my life. I took 2 weeks off work, unable to focus or function normally. I barely ate, rarely slept, and ignored calls from concerned friends and family. When I did sleep, nightmares of Amanda and James together would jolt me awake, leaving me gasping for air and drenched in sweat. I replayed our entire relationship in my mind, searching for signs I had missed. Had she always loved James? Was I just a distraction? A safe choice? While she nursed her broken heart, the questions tormented me endlessly. Tyler visited daily, often bringing food he knew I would not eat, and sitting silently with me through the worst evenings. Jessica, despite her complicated position as a friend to both Amanda and me, checked in regularly. My boss, understanding the situation, arranged for me to work remotely when my leave ended. After a month of barely functioning, Tyler finally intervened more forcefully. "You need professional help, Colin," he said one evening. "This is beyond what friends can fix with pizza and beer." He was right. I started seeing Dr. Melissa Hansen, a therapist specializing in relationship trauma. Our sessions were painful initially, requiring me to verbalize feelings I had been suppressing. "What you are experiencing is not just heartbreak," Dr. Hansen explained during our 3rd session. "It is a form of post-traumatic stress. Your sense of reality and security was violated." 3 months after Amanda left, I joined a support group for people going through divorce. Being among others who understood my pain was surprisingly healing. There was John, whose wife of 15 years had left him for her gym trainer. Maria, whose husband abandoned her and their 3 children for a college student. Their stories made me realize I was not alone in my pain, nor was I somehow uniquely unlovable. Slowly, I began rebuilding my life. I returned to running a passion I had neglected during my relationship with Amanda. I joined a local hiking group, rediscovering my love for outdoor activities. I reconnected with old friends I had lost touch with, and made new ones through the support group. 6 months after Amanda's departure, an opportunity arose at work to transfer to our Seattle office. Without the attachments holding me to Boston, I decided to take it. A fresh start in a new city seemed like exactly what I needed. Seattle welcomed me with its vibrant culture and stunning natural surroundings. I found an apartment with a view of Puget Sound and started exploring my new home. The pain was still there, but it no longer consumed every waking moment. I made new friends at work, particularly Rachel, a project manager, who shared my love for hiking and obscure documentaries. Life was finally regaining some color when 8 months after Amanda had walked out, Jessica called with unexpected news. "I thought you should know," she said hesitantly. "James has another family in Colorado, a wife and 2 kids." According to Jessica, Amanda had discovered photos on James' phone while he was showering. Confronted with evidence of his double life, James had admitted everything. He had been married for 7 years with 2 young children. His business trips to Boston had been opportunities to maintain his relationship with Amanda before she met me. When he learned of our engagement, he had determined to win her back before she married someone else. Amanda is devastated, Jessica continued. James left yesterday. Went back to his family after Amanda threatened to contact his wife. I felt a complex mix of emotions, satisfaction that karma had caught up with both of them, sympathy for Amanda Payne, and a strange sense of validation. I had not been the problem after all. Thanks for letting me know, I told Jessica. But honestly, their drama is not my concern anymore. I meant it. I had worked too hard to rebuild my life, to be pulled back into their toxic world. Then exactly 1 year after our wedding day, Amanda appeared at my office in Seattle. I was returning from lunch when I saw her sitting in the reception area, nervously twisting her hands in her lap. She looked different, thinner, with dark circles under her eyes, but still beautiful, in a way that made my heart skip, despite everything. "Colin," she said, standing as I approached. "I needed to see you." We went to a nearby coffee shop. For the first 20 minutes, Amanda cried while attempting to explain how sorry she was, how her life had fallen apart, how James had deceived her, just as he had deceived his wife. "I made the biggest mistake of my life leaving you," she said, reaching for my hand across the table. I pulled away instinctively. "You were good to me, Colin. You were honest and kind and loving. James was none of those things." She explained that after James returned to Colorado, she had fallen into depression, eventually moving back with her parents. She had been in therapy, she said, working through her issues with commitment and impulse control. She had thought about me every day. "I know I do not deserve another chance," she said, "but I am asking for one anyway. We could start slow, just dating again. See where things go." Then came the words that revealed her true intentions. "You would be the perfect husband, Colin. I see that now. We could have the life we planned. The house, the kids, everything. I was foolish to throw it all away." I sat silently, taking in her words. The perfect husband. Not the perfect partner, not the man she desperately loved, but the perfect husband. A role, a function, a safe harbor after her grand passion had shipwrecked. "I need some time to think about this," I said finally. "Can we meet tomorrow?" She agreed, eagerly hope lighting her tired face. We arranged to meet at the same coffee shop the following afternoon. That night I sat on my balcony overlooking the water, reflecting on everything that had happened since Amanda had walked out of my life. I thought about the pain, the growth, the new friendships, and the stronger person I had become. I remembered Dr. Hansen's words from one of our last sessions. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened to you. It is about freeing yourself from carrying the weight of it forever. I had forgiven Amanda, I realized. Not because she deserved forgiveness, but because I deserved peace. And with that realization came clarity about her request. The next day, Amanda arrived at the coffee shop wearing a new dress and makeup, looking more like her old self. She smiled hopefully as I sat down. "I have been thinking about you all night," she began. "About us. About how we could rebuild." "I have been thinking too," I said calmly. "About everything that has happened this past year." I told her how her departure had broken me, how I had struggled to find meaning and purpose again. I shared the journey of rebuilding my life piece by piece, of finding strength I never knew I had. "I want to thank you," I said finally. She looked confused. "Thank me for what?" "For giving me the opportunity to discover who I really am. For teaching me that I deserve to be more than someone's backup plan." Her expression fell. "That is not what this is, Colin. Isn't it?" I asked gently. "You said I would be the perfect husband. Not that you love me more than anything. Not that you made a terrible mistake, because I am the love of your life. But that I would be perfect for the role you now want filled." Tears welled in her eyes. "That is not what I meant." "I think it is," I continued. "And the truth is, Amanda, I deserve to be someone first choice, not the safe option after the exciting one fails, not the reliable backup plan. You are being unfair, she protested, her voice rising slightly. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. You are right. And I am not punishing you for your mistake. I am simply choosing what is best for me now. And that is not returning to a relationship where I will always wonder if I was truly wanted or merely needed. Amanda. Face. Hardened. So you do not love me anymore. Is that it? I will always care about you, I answered truthfully. But I have learned to care about myself, too. The Colin you left would have taken you back in a heartbeat, grateful for another chance. But I am not that man anymore. There is someone else, she accused. That is the real reason. I shook my head. This is not about anyone else. This is about self-respect. About understanding my own worth. As our conversation ended, Amanda finally seemed to understand that my decision was final. She left the coffee shop with one last tearful glance over her shoulder. As I watched her go, I felt not satisfaction or vindication, but peace. I had closed a chapter that needed ending. Walking back to my office, I ran into Rachel, who had been a steadfast friend throughout my time in Seattle. Everything okay? She asked, noticing my thoughtful expression. Actually, yes, I replied with genuine surprise. Everything is good. In the months that followed, I finalized my divorce from Amanda. The process was surprisingly straightforward, given the short duration of our marriage and Amanda's willingness to sign the papers without contest. I immersed myself in work, earning a promotion to project manager that spring. Rachel and I gradually developed a deeper connection. Unlike my whirlwind romance with Amanda, our relationship grew slowly, built on a foundation of genuine friendship and mutual respect. I was cautious at first, worried about bringing baggage into something new, but Rachel's patience and understanding helped me navigate those concerns. Perhaps the most meaningful development was the online support network I started for people recovering from relationship betrayal. What began as a simple blog about my experiences grew into a community of thousands sharing their stories and supporting each other through healing. Today, 2 years after Amanda walked out of our apartment with her suitcase, I can honestly say I am grateful for the journey. The pain shaped me, but it did not define me. I learned that sometimes the end of one dream makes room for better ones to take root. I occasionally hear about Amanda through mutual friends. She moved to Chicago last year for a fresh start of her own. I wish her well genuinely. We all deserve second chances and happiness, just not at the expense of someone else's dignity. The most important lesson I learned was that true love should never make you a backup option. Real partnership means being chosen every day, not just when other options have been exhausted. Sometimes, the most painful betrayals lead us exactly where we need to be, opening doors we never would have seen otherwise. Have you ever had to choose between going back to the familiar or embracing a new beginning? Do you think people deserve second chances after betrayal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real-life journeys of healing and growth. Thank you for listening. And remember, you always deserve to be someone's first choice, never their backup plan.